but no, I like go gamble, play poker all fucking night. I'm like gambling, you know, poker's stressful and this and that. My buddy comes to me, he's like, hey, like, you know, we got these strippers, like, let's go to the strip club. Like, got ecstasy and all this drugs. And I was like, fuck. I was like, all right, fine. You know, I was like winning in poker. I was like, fine, sure. So I start getting fucked up, go to the strip club. And I asked the, you know, and I asked the first chick that like came over. She's like, oh, like you want some lap dances? I'm like, no, like I haven't slept in like 2 days. Like I just want to get my dick sucked. Like I'll give you $500, right? Suck my dick. And she's like, no, like, you know, like I'll fuck you. And I was like, no, like, you know, I was like, I don't really want to fuck you. I just want, you know, to get the blowjob. And she slaps me, like, cause basically she's like offering to fuck me for free. And I said no. So she's like, oh, so she slaps me in the face, right? Like, and I was like, damn. And I was like, and then the next chick comes up and I like offered her the same thing. I was like, hey, like, I'll give you $500 to suck my dick. I'm like, I don't really want any lap dances. She's like, well, it's like, you know, I'm down to hang out, you know, and, you know, I can get off. And I'm just like, fuck. I'm just like, well, this sounds like she's going to want me to bang her. I'm like, I don't want to get slapped again. I was just like, so I'm like, okay, like, you know, get your shit. Like, let's get out of here. Let's go after party. So I talked to my buddy. I'm like, hey, like, I need a Viagra or some kind of dick pill or something, you know, and I'd never taken Viagra, so I didn't really know the dosing or whatever. So he gives me the 100 milligram one, which is like for fucking, if you don't know anything about, you know, Viagra, that's for like geriatrics, right? This dude gives me this thing. I take the whole thing. I don't know, like a minute goes by and I'm like, the fucking thing isn't working. You know, I'm all coked up. I think, you know, it seems like it's been an hour, right? The guy's like, it hasn't been enough time. I'm like, give me another pill. And
oh no.
So he's like, no, like you can't. I'm like, give me the fucking thing. So he gives me another. He's like, only take half. He's like, don't take this. And so anyway, so I take another half. Wait like 5 minutes, do some more blow, and I'm like, oh, my dick's not hard. Like the girl's not even around. Like I have no like sexual stimulus. There's no even reason for my dick to be hard, right? But it's like in my mind, I'm like overthinking it, which makes it worse, right? So I'm like, fuck it. So I take the other half. So now I'm like 200 milligrams into this fucking Viagra, which is like, you know, double the absolute max from what you know.
You can have some guys have to get their dick drained, right?
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that. So go back to my hotel, and I'm like fucking banging the shit out of this girl. Like, you know, I mean, I got like veins coming out of my head. I'm sweating profusely, and I'm like doing I'd fucked her for like maybe like 45, 50 minutes. Like, it was not pleasurable at all. This was like work, right? I'm just like, and after like, fuck, man, I think it was like 50 minutes. I just quit. Like, I was just like, I just knew there was just zero chance of me coming, and I'd like punished this chick enough, and I'm just like, and I like didn't, like, I was just tired. I went in the bathroom, took a cold shower. My dick like wouldn't go down. Like I'd like order some room service, ended up like tucking it up into my waist. And because like there's just no going down for this fucking thing, right? So eat the room service. I think, then I actually ended up taking a Valium, went to sleep, banged her again, woke up, went and ate some Mexican food. I was like betting on the sports game. And I started getting like this pain in my shoulder. And I couldn't really like know what it was. It was like, it kind of just felt like an ache. So I started doing some push-ups. That didn't really make it feel any better. And I was like stretching my arm out. I was like trying to sleep, but I couldn't even like lay on that side. I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, heart attack never even entered into the realm of possibility of shit that could be wrong with me, right? I'm like fucking 25. Like, it's like shoulder pain. Like, wow, you know, I didn't have no idea that would have anything to do with a heart attack. So call my mom, tell her to get the family doctor on the phone. She calls this dude up, and I'm like getting like kind of short of breath. So I'm like, fuck. So I just hang up the phone, and I find out the hospital's like 10 minutes away. So I'm like, fuck it, I'll just get a cab, be faster. I should have gotten an ambulance, but I got a cab. Note to self, always get an ambulance if you got any shit, because I got the cab. I was in the waiting room for like 50 minutes. I pulled out like 10 grand out of my pocket. I told the lady, I was like, I'll give you 10 grand. Let me talk to the fucking doctor. Like, something's wrong with me. I don't know what's wrong, but I know something's wrong. Anyway.
Did she take the 10 grand?
Fuck no. It made me sit in the fucking waiting room. And like 30, 40 minutes go by. I finally get seen by a doctor. He's like, holy shit, like you're having a full-blown heart attack, all this stuff. And give me the nitroglycerin. And I call my dad, and my mom was like, telling me, well, I'm thinking I'm fucking done, right? And because this has been going on for a while. I'm like having a hard time breathing. I'm like in pain. And so they give me the nitroglycerin, right? And I start feeling better. They do a angiogram or whatever where they check out the heart. They said there was no damage. Parents come out. The next day I have another one. And I'm like, and I tell the doctor, I'm just like, and then my doctor was Conrad Murray too, by the way, which is Michael Jackson's doctor, the guy that smoked him. And the craziest,
That was your doctor?
Yeah, and the spookiest thing about the whole deal was my grandfather had the same doctor in the same motherfucking hospital exactly 1 year prior and died. So I'm just like, this is not looking good for the home team. This is before he'd killed Michael Jackson's ass too, right? So I'm like, fuck, I'm just in the hospital. So I call my dad. I'm like, I'm having another heart attack. I tell the nurse, and they're like, no, like, your thing looks fine. I call my dad. I'm like, there's something wrong. My dad, like, comes down to the hospital, and sure enough, like, I'm having a second, like, minor heart attack. I'm just like, what the fuck? So they do a bunch of tests. They say my heart's fine, and then they ask me for, like, the list. So I got to, like, give them the list. And my ex-girlfriend's there, my mom's there, my dad's there, and I'm just, like, started off with, like, oh, well, I was, like, smoking some pot, and he's like, well, like, you better tell us, like, what you've been doing. Like, it's important. We need to figure out what's going on with you. And I was like, and I did some, ecstasy and some cocaine, and, like, my dad, like, looks over at me like, what the fuck? My dad's, like, super square. And anyway, so then I was like, and I think I took some Viagra. My girlfriend's, like, fucking rioting now. And he's like, how much? I'm like, 200 milligrams. He's like, what? He's like, 200 milligrams. I'm like, I don't fucking know. It's like, seem like what I was supposed to take. He's like, that's like an insane amount. Like, anyway, so I end up staying in the hospital for like 4 days. I actually fucked my girlfriend in the hospital with all these like cords and crazy shit.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I like smoked a joint in the hospital thing. I fucked her. Like, I had a buddy of mine bringing like wine coolers and Chinese food. I was like the worst patient of all time, right?